I want to talk about Fed Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke firing back at congressional efforts to rein in his power. Writing in yesterday's Washington Post, Bernanke criticized proposals to curb the Fed's supervisory powers and increase oversight of its rate decisions. Now, Bernanke writes, a number of the legislative proposals being circulated would significantly reduce the capacity of the Federal Reserve to perform its core functions. The measures, Bernanke writes, would seriously impair the prospects for economic and financial stability in the United States. Well, the Washington Post piece setting up a showdown Thursday when Bernanke goes before the Senate Banking Committee about his nomination for a second term as the Fed chief. And here to talk about it is Vincent Reinhart. He's the former director of the Fed's Division of Monetary Affairs and currently with the American Enterprise Institute. Vince, thank you very much for being with us. Good to see you as always.
Thanks for having me.
Before we get into these Bernanke comments, though, I do want to ask you about, about how this Dubai situation certainly complicates the situation in the Middle East, but also for central bankers around the world, including the Fed, as they've been trying to unwind their programs from this crisis.
So I think there's a couple things going on. One is, exactly as you said, will they be able to scale down their facilities, particularly those that give special credit to financial institutions? Fact is, it may be a little premature to do so in an environment in which markets are still tender. The problem unique to the Federal Reserve and the United States is the U.S. is the safe haven. And when there's tensions elsewhere in the world, you wind up tending to support the dollar. And that means that there's more external restraint on the U.S. economy, that's not performing all that well.
Well, what do you think is going through you were at the Fed. What do you think is going through the minds of Bernanke as well as the other Fed officials as they're watching these developments in the Middle East?
Oh, I think they wake up every morning and say, let no bad thing happen. Or why me? So this is something in which policy is not set on the mean of a distribution of outcomes. It's got to take into account tail events. And on a day like this, or given the weekend's events, it's easier to imagine really adverse tail events. So you want in place your ability to deal with outside risks. So it doesn't change the main setting of policy, but it makes you want to stay a little more on the balls of your feet, a little more willing to be able to move quickly.